Have you ever felt trapped, held hostage not by physical bars, but by the weight of resentment? That heavy cloak of unforgiveness, clinging to you, dampening your spirit, and blurring your vision of a brighter future? Perhaps it's a past betrayal, a broken promise, or an act of cruelty that replays endlessly in your mind, each repetition deepening the grooves of bitterness. It's a human experience, this struggle to let go, to release the pain inflicted by others. But what if holding on to that pain is actually causing you more harm than the initial wound itself? We often think of forgiveness as something we do for the other person, a magnanimous act of grace bestowed upon the offender. And while that may be a part of it, the truth is, forgiveness is first and foremost a gift we give ourselves. It's about liberating yourself from the prison of resentment, freeing your heart and mind to heal and move forward. Think of it like carrying a heavy stone. You might think you're punishing the person who gave you the stone by carrying it, but in reality, you're the one bearing the burden, the one whose shoulders ache under its weight. This isn't about condoning the actions that hurt you, or pretending that the pain didn't exist. It's not about forgetting or excusing. It's about acknowledging the reality of what happened, processing the emotions that arose from it, and making a conscious decision to release the grip that event has on your present and future. It's about choosing to reclaim your power, to define your life on your own terms, rather than allowing the past to dictate your destiny. The journey towards forgiveness isn't always easy. It can be a messy, uncomfortable process filled with setbacks and moments of doubt. There will be times when the anger resurfaces, when the pain feels fresh again, and when the idea of letting go seems impossible. But it's important to remember that healing is not linear. It's a winding path with ups and downs, twists and turns. Be patient with yourself, allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise, and trust that with each step, you're moving closer to a place of peace and freedom. We're going to explore the power of forgiveness, not as a religious or moral obligation, but as a practical tool for emotional well-being. We'll delve into the psychological mechanisms that keep us stuck in cycles of resentment, and we'll uncover strategies for breaking free from those patterns. This is about learning to navigate the complexities of hurt, to find compassion for yourself and others, and to ultimately create a life filled with more joy, peace, and resilience. It's a journey of self-discovery, of reclaiming your narrative, and of stepping into a future where you are no longer defined by the pain of the past. This is about empowering you to choose freedom, to choose healing, and to choose a life of your own design. Let's delve into the psychology behind why forgiveness can feel so remarkably elusive. Often, we confuse forgiveness with condoning or justifying hurtful actions. This misinterpretation creates a significant barrier. We might believe that forgiving someone implies accepting their behavior as acceptable, which can feel like a betrayal of our own values and a diminishment of the pain we've endured. However, it's crucial to differentiate between forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness is about releasing your emotional attachment to the pain, while acceptance involves acknowledging the reality of what transpired without necessarily condoning it. Another crucial layer is the concept of rumination. When we're hurt, our minds often get stuck in a loop of replaying the event, analyzing the details, and dwelling on the injustice. This constant rehashing of the past intensifies our negative emotions, solidifying the neural pathways associated with anger and resentment. Think of it as repeatedly walking the same path in a field. Over time, that path becomes deeply worn, making it increasingly difficult to deviate from it. To break free from this cycle, we need to consciously interrupt the rumination, redirecting our attention to more positive and constructive thoughts. Furthermore, our ego often plays a significant role in our reluctance to forgive. Holding on to resentment can provide a sense of power, a feeling of being right or justified in our anger. Letting go can feel like relinquishing that power, admitting vulnerability, or even appearing weak. However, true strength lies not in clinging to anger, but in the courage to confront our pain, process our emotions, and choose a path of healing. Consider the analogy of a clenched fist. Holding on tightly might feel powerful in the moment, but it ultimately leads to tension, stiffness, and limited movement. Releasing the fist allows for flexibility, relaxation, and the ability to grasp new opportunities. Conversely, sometimes the difficulty in forgiving stems from unresolved grief. Hurt often triggers feelings of loss of trust, loss of innocence, loss of a relationship. If we haven't adequately grieved these losses, the pain can manifest as anger and resentment towards the person we perceive as responsible. In these situations, addressing the underlying grief through therapy, journaling, or other forms of emotional processing can be essential for paving the way towards forgiveness. Now, consider how this applies when you face a situation where forgiveness feels impossible. Are you confusing forgiveness with condoning? Are you caught in a cycle of rumination? Is your ego getting in the way? Or are you struggling with unresolved grief? Identifying the specific obstacles that are hindering your ability to forgive can provide valuable insights and guide you towards more effective strategies for healing. The key is to approach the process with self-awareness, compassion, and a willingness to challenge your own beliefs and assumptions about forgiveness. Reflecting on this journey so far, we begin to perceive a unifying principle, a subtle yet powerful undercurrent that connects the disparate shores of our emotional landscape. It's akin to observing individual brushstrokes on a canvas, each seemingly independent, yet contributing to a cohesive and ultimately meaningful whole. We've touched upon the weight of holding onto past grievances, the intricate dance between forgiveness and condoning, and the psychological mechanisms that can trap us in cycles of resentment. But beyond these individual considerations, a broader truth emerges, a recognition of the profound impact our internal narratives have on shaping our lived experience. Consider the intricate architecture of a spider's web, each strand meticulously spun and interconnected, designed to capture and hold. Similarly, our minds construct intricate webs of beliefs, assumptions, and interpretations that filter our perception of reality. When these webs are woven with threads of resentment and unforgiveness, they can become traps, ensnaring us in patterns of negativity and limiting our ability to experience joy and connection. The act of forgiveness, then, becomes an act of conscious reconstruction, a deliberate untangling of those limiting threads and a weaving of new patterns that support growth, resilience, and well-being. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes less about absolving the actions of others and more about liberating ourselves from the corrosive effects of bitterness. It's about recognizing that the power to heal resides not in the hands of those who have hurt us, but within our own hearts and minds. It's akin to understanding that the key to unlocking a door lies not in changing the lock itself, but in finding the right key, a key forged from self-compassion, acceptance, and a willingness to rewrite the narrative of our lives. As we pivot towards the final reflection, let's consider the cumulative effect of the ideas we've explored. It is not about erasing the past or pretending that the pain never existed. It's about transforming our relationship with that pain, reframing it not as a life sentence, but as a catalyst for growth and transformation. It's about recognizing that even in the darkest of nights, there is always a glimmer of hope, a flicker of resilience that can guide us towards a brighter dawn. Drawing these strands together, we see that forgiveness is not a singular event, but rather an ongoing process, a journey of self-discovery and emotional liberation. It requires courage, patience, and a willingness to confront our own vulnerabilities. But the rewards are immeasurable: a lighter heart, a clearer mind, and a renewed sense of purpose. Now, let us turn to the final message, where we will distill these insights into a concise and actionable principle that can empower you to move forward with grace, resilience, and unwavering hope. Consider forgiveness not as a singular act of absolution offered to another, but as the continual tending of a garden within your own soul. The seeds of hurt may have been sown by external forces, but the responsibility for nurturing or weeding that garden rests solely with you. Choosing to forgive is akin to choosing to cultivate beauty, resilience, and peace in that inner landscape, rather than allowing bitterness and resentment to choke the life from it. It's an active, ongoing process, requiring constant vigilance and a willingness to prune away the negativity that threatens to take root. Perhaps the most profound realization in all of this is that the act of forgiving is not necessarily about the other person at all. It's not about condoning their actions, excusing their behavior, or even reconciling with them. It's about reclaiming your own narrative, rewriting the story of your life in a way that empowers you to move forward with strength and grace. It's about refusing to let the past dictate your present or your future. Think of it as releasing a bird from a cage. The bird may fly away, never to return, but the act of releasing it frees you from the burden of captivity. The true essence of forgiveness lies in its transformative power to shift your perspective, to reframe your understanding of yourself and the world around you. When you choose to forgive, you're not simply letting go of the past. You're creating space for new possibilities, new relationships, and new experiences to blossom. You're opening yourself up to the potential for healing, growth, and a deeper sense of inner peace. The path toward forgiveness is not always easy, and there may be times when you stumble or lose your way. But it's important to remember that progress, not perfection, is the goal. Be patient with yourself, Allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise, and trust that with each step forward, you're moving closer to a place of greater freedom and wholeness. And so, as we reach the end of this exploration, let us leave you with this final thought. The true practice begins now. It begins with a conscious decision to embrace self-compassion, to challenge your own limiting beliefs, and to cultivate a garden of forgiveness within your own heart. It begins with recognizing that you have the power to choose your own path, to define your own destiny, and to create a life filled with more joy, peace, and meaning. Embrace that power, nurture that garden, and watch as your soul blossoms into its fullest potential.